Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 296th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We're holding by Parshat Shoftim. Parshat Shoftim talks about the establishment of law courts, blemish sacrifices, death penalty for an idol worshiper, rebellious elder, speaks about a king in Israel, priestly gifts, speaks about prophecy, prophets in Israel, cities of refuge, a lot of things. A lot of very interesting things here. So the very beginning of the Parsha says in chapter 17, verse 7, it says that the hand of the witnesses shall be upon him first to put him to death, and the hand of the entire people afterwards. You shall destroy the evil from your midst. Talking about death penalty for an idol worshiper, right? So who's going to start stoning first? First, you get the witnesses, and then you have everybody else, right? Very interesting. You have the witnesses first, right? You have the witnesses first, and then you have everybody else. So, and the whole point is to uproot evil from your midst. It comes on, Rebbe, Arav Agon, or Moshe Tor, Moshe Lita, should be well. And he says, I heard an amazing thing on this. He says, we find today that there are people, that there are Orthodox Jews, that live among people that sin, i.e., they live in secular community, right? Meaning that there are secular Jews that live around them. They don't live just in an Orthodox community. Outside of Israel, very hard to find just 100% an Orthodox community. Right? So essentially, a person may be living around secular Jews, right, as well. But you see people that sin in general. So when you see them, you see their actions, you see that they sin, what happens? The person becomes accustomed to it. Right? In other words, it's not so severe, even if it's death penalty. Someone desecrates Shabbat, and a person sees them desecrate Shabbat. They see nothing happen, right? Nothing happens to this person. So Shabbat is kind of light, and the person dies because, say, okay, this is what the person does. So he mows his lawn. He mows his lawn on Shabbat. He goes in his car on Shabbat. He does other things, right? A person should really scream out, say Shabbat, but obviously you're not going to draw him close if you do that. But you scream to yourself because Shabbos is so chamor. Shabbos, is so, it's so hard. It's a law liable for death penalty, right? Extremely strict over here. But here the Torah says, right? It says you have to uproot this evil, right? So that's what it means. It means over here, who gets to stone them first? If the person's going to get stoned, right? But let's say desecrating Shabbos in public or idolatry, right? That'd be death penalty as well. So who starts the stoning process? Who's the first one? The Eidim, the witnesses. Why? Why should they start first? Why not other people? Why? Because he says they're the ones who saw the sin first, right? That's what the Torah says. They saw the sin first. So therefore, what? The sin that they saw, and they see nothing happen. They see the person got struck by lightning. A person didn't get hit by a bus. So therefore, they're used to it. And so therefore, it enters their heart. It strengthens in their heart, it makes a light in their eyes in a certain way. And so what does the Torah say? They're the first ones. Why? Because they have to strengthen themselves. They saw the sin. They don't want it to be something light in their eyes. So therefore, they start the process of stoning the person. Right? And that's why the Torah says that the witnesses start first, because they have to uproot it, but they have to uproot it from their heart because they saw it. Right? The fact that they saw it, and this is such a chamor din, right? This is such a strict din over here, death penalty. And it becomes light in their eyes, the power of the sin. In other words, the sin itself is what? Sin itself, over here, we're talking about idolatry, death penalty. Death penalty. So therefore, in order to uproot the hisraglus, the everyday seeing it, so the Torah says they have to be the ones to start stoning first. Why? Because they're the ones to start. They want to uproot this lightness that when they saw them do it, it affects them. It affects the person. Right? So therefore, there's a command that their hands start this process first. Their hand starts they begin to stone first. So my Rebbe here says, this is a fundamental principle over here. Because if we live around people that don't keep Shabbos, it desecrates Shabbos in public. And it's very common that we see them on a regular basis, maybe on every Shabbos. They're going out desecrating Shabbos. They go in their car, they mow their lawn, they do other things, etc. And what do we see? Nothing happens to them. They live a long life. They seem to have a good life, more or less. We don't see any punishment, right? Even someone's going to say in the time of the temple, no one ever got stoned, right? No one ever got corporal punishment. Okay. But it's telling you the severity of the sin. So over here, you have the severity of the sin, but you have no punishment. There's no Sanhedrin to it. There would be no punishment. Yeah. So if there's no punishment, you see they don't get punished, it comes to light in your eyes. Therefore, it's fitting. It's fitting that they have the status of someone does a great Shabbos in public. Right over here, what's their status? Whether they understand what they're doing or not, their status is like a non-Jew. They have a status like a non-Jew. And the severity of the transgression is the greatest death penalty. Greatest death penalty being skewed, being stoning to death. Right? In order that should have an influence, it shouldn't be light in your eyes. Right? An amazing thing. An amazing thing. The idea is, even if a person lives among secular Jews, right? Even if you live among secular Jews, and you see secular Jews do what? You see secular Jews desecrate Shabbos, what's going to happen? Doesn't seem like anything. They're not getting punished. There's no stoning. We don't have a temple. We don't have a Sanhedrin. So they don't see any of this. So it can become light in your eyes. Because the person sees it all the time. So really what a person should do when they see it is scream out and say, Shabbos! They should scream out. That's really what they should do. Why? Because that's the severity. That's the severity of Shabbos. But we get so used to it. Yeah, a person lives among secular Jews. You get so used to it, you don't see anything happen. So you don't think nothing's going to happen to them. Right? We're not going to become heretics here. But at the same time, you see it over and over and over again, it kind of becomes light in your eyes. You don't see the severity. Why not? Because you see they don't get punished. I mean, they will get punished. That's true. We have no doubts they're going to get punished. But we don't see it. And if a person doesn't see it, it can be light in their eyes. Right? So, therefore, a person who sees anybody sin, depends, obviously, the severity of what they do. But it's so common, a person, if they see secular Jews, the way they talk and what they do, transgress all the time. Different things. So they'll blaspheme against God. They'll curse. They'll speak Lashon Hara, and we see nothing happens. Right? We see they don't get zapped, nothing happens. So what happens? It can make us weaker in our beliefs. It can have a negative effect. What should I do? Even if I say something, they won't listen. Sometimes, as we always say, you got to give rebuke, even if they don't listen. True. 100% true. Right? Depends on, the circumstances. But deep inside, what should I be doing? When I hear them speak Lashon Hara. When I hear them blaspheme against God. When I see they barely wear any clothes outside. We should be screaming to high heaven how bad it is. At least to ourselves. So it should have an effect on ourselves, and we shouldn't get used to it. That's the way people dress. That's what people do. So what? Doesn't matter if that's what people do or that's how people dress. It's still wrong. It doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right by any stretch. So why do I have to watch it and like it and just say, well, that's who they are. They were never taught. It's true. 100% they were never taught. And right here, they were never taught. The fact is, we should be disgusted by it. It should be disgusting in our hearts. Such severity of sin over here. The punishment's death penalty. Desecration of Shabbat. How can we take that lightly? But we sort of get lulled to sleep. give all kinds of excuses. They never knew. They were never taught. Doesn't mean I can't wish them good Shabbos and different things to try and be makar of them, to try and draw them close, 100%. But I have to scream from within. And the reason I have to scream within is so I don't get used to it. We don't want to get used to it. That's what my Rebbe is saying. Do not get used to it. Even if they do it on a regular basis. Doesn't matter. The fact is, it should make me disgusted. It should make me feel such pain for what they're doing. And the reason is what? The severity of the punishment. The severity of the punishment is the worst of all punishments here, which is skila, which is being stoned to death. So we don't have a temple. We don't see punishment today. God will take care of them one way or another, whether in this world, next world, both worlds. That we don't have to worry. What we do have to worry about is the fact that we see that, and if we see it on a regular basis, it has a negative effect. We don't want it. We don't want it to have a negative effect on us. We don't want it to be light in our eyes. So what should we do? What should we do? We should scream out. We should scream out to ourselves. You don't scream out to them, it's not going to do anything. It's going to make them hate Judaism more. We have to scream out to ourselves and say, Shabbos! Severity of Shabbos! Because we don't want to take it lightly. We don't want to make excuses for people, in different things. It affects us. That's what Maribir means. It can affect us in a negative way by taking it lightly. You tell me they don't know anything, they never learned. They're like a potato farmer in Idaho. No offense, they don't want the potato farmer grew up in Idaho. Right? It means they grew up learning, knowing nothing about Judaism. Okay. I give a lot of excuses why I can look the other way. What's the problem? What's the problem over here? Problem is, they're liable for death penalty. They have a status of a non-Jew, unless they repent. That's pretty severe. 100% pretty severe. Yeah, we cannot take things lightly. Even if we see it on a regular basis. We have to know yesh din v'yesh dayan. There's a judge, there's judgment. Right? Or I said it backwards. There's judgment and there's a judge. At the same time, I have to try and draw them close 100%. But I have to realize the severity of what they do can have an effect on me if we see nothing happens to them and we see they don't get punished. That can have a negative effect. Totally negative effect. Even if we live amongst non-Jews, secular Jews. Not everyone in our community is an ultra-Orthodox Jew or a modern Orthodox Jew or whatever. They're not keeping many Torah mitzvahs. That should pain us. Right? Because it takes God away from this world. So we have to do what we can to draw them close, 100%. At the same time, we got to feel the pain of the severity of what they do. Right? We can't rest on our laurels. We can't take things lightly. Right? That's what the month of Elul is all about. Month of Elul is all about introspection. And a person would say, hey, to a lot of people in Elul, doom and gloom. Don't even smile. Yeah. Judgment's coming within a month. The ultimate judgment. God's going to judge us. He's going to judge us, going to judge the world, Jews and non-Jews. We got to be ready. We got to be prepared. All right? Life is serious. It's not a game. Right? We can't take things for granted. We can't take things lightly. And even if we can't do anything about it, we can't change the person. At least we can scream to ourselves to show the effect that it has. Right? To show that it shouldn't affect us in a negative way. And we should know the severity of these transgressions. I want to remind everyone I have a class on duties of the heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 2 Q&As, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time, Saturday, Pirkei Avos, Ethics for Our Fathers. That is 2:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Israel time, Sunday, Book of Leviticus, chapter 17. I have conversion classes and one other announcement. I finished up a number of weeks ago on the Noahide laws. All right, so I'm gonna put out there, anyone who wants to buy it, I have special sites. There are about 70 classes on the Noahide laws. and on different things of belief, like in God, in the Jewish people, sorcery, mysticism, different things, how we should look at it and how non-Jews should look at it, right? So that I'm going to put out there, and anyone who wants it, and anyone who wants to contact me, RabbiChaimKaufman@gmail.com, RBBI, CHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com.